Hey ladies, welcome to Sports and Mimosas. We're back. A little break after our Super Bowl, amazing Super Bowl. That's what we're talking about today. Meredith and I are catching up. We haven't been in a full conversation about the game and all the different storylines around the game since it happened. We text, of course, during it all, but like to really sit down and like dive into some of the stories around the Super Bowl. We're a little over a week since the Super Bowl happened. We're coming up on 2 weeks this Sunday since it happened. So we're going to dive into that. But how are you doing, Meredith? Welcome to Girl Chat.
You can tell I'm getting ready for my Dallas move.
Yeah. And we're going to talk some Dallas. If everyone knows, Laker Dallas, their big trade happened since the last time we talked. So we're going to talk about that towards the end, kind of get some feelings. But yeah, she's moving. She's leaving me in the state, but we're still going to be having our girl chats and talking. Because as you can see, we do this virtually
Yes,
anyway,
the
but
perk of it.
yes. So let's jump in to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
So there's a
God
lot
bless.
that
God
happened.
bless the Chief. God bless the Eagles, because
It
that
was
was
a glorious game, and I had no
glorious.
one in.
I didn't watch it. That's the best.
So, like, to catch everyone else up, in case for some reason you missed it, because even if you did not watch the game, I know you've seen everything about who the winner is. But we had the Chiefs, Kansas City again against the Eagles. The Eagles dominated them
Dominated.
out the gate, and they won 40-22. So they stopped the three-peat
Glorious.
from happening. That's all we wanted.
That's all I wanted. So for those, I was very against the Super Bowl, and I claimed the day that everyone won. I was like, I'm probably going to boycott it because we'll get into it later, but the sports world just got me that first week of February that I was like, I can't take any other heartbreak. I couldn't, like, MLB, NBA, everything was happening. And I was like, I cannot chance to watch another game where Patrick Mahomes comes out with that trip. Like, I just couldn't. I know that's
You had
silly.
already said you weren't
I just
watching
couldn't
when
do it.
Patrick was going.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't do it. My one of my greatest friends, she's a Bills fan. We went to the movies, and I was blissfully unaware. I was just gonna be like, I'm not even checking my phone. I'm just gonna do whatever. And midway through the movie, I'm getting like text messages, and I'm like, no one has talked to me all day. Like, what is happening? And everyone is texting me like, Meredith, what is happening? Like, it's like 17 and it's like 24 and I'm like, what? And I look at Erin and I'm like, I think it's really bad. And she was
Yeah.
like, and then we were like, then you get a little suspicious because you're just like, oh, I don't.
Yeah.
They're doing this without me watching, so like I'm not going
We had to
to.
stay out
But
watching.
I like looking at the numbers. I couldn't get over any of it. Like I think it was one of those games that, and like this is coming from a Peyton Manning fan who that Super Bowl against the like Seattle was a heartbreaker. But this, I think, and like, no offense, but like, and I love Peyton Manning, but like, Peyton Manning was at the end of his career. Like, there were more factors to, like, and Russell Wilson was in this like, it was kind of, it wasn't as even as a match as this
And
was.
he come in.
And like, and I personally, and I think I might have texted you this, I did not think that Patrick Mahomes looked like himself all press week. I felt like he was not, there's a joke that he was probably upset about the Luka trade. Um, they're like,
But his grandfather did die that weekend after, so I'm
for the
like,
Super Bowl?
yeah,
Oh,
like
I didn't know that.
I don't know if it was last weekend they said that they had his funeral. So I wonder if like that was on his mind, but professionals can
Block. But I felt like just like
but
he
yeah.
did not, I don't know, didn't feel like he had the swag that he's had in the past. And I
I
think
think that
that,
first drive going out really their first drive like was not the Chiefs
but
and
like
it
we've
was
also said all year that I did not think the
come back.
Chiefs were the best team this year.
Yeah.
We said on the last podcast that I was like, this is not the team that's going to do it. And I think, and given the storylines of the refs and whatnot, and I really thought it was interesting that they talked about it in the press. And I think like that made it more of a
I was
like,
about to say
why are
the
you talking
media,
about it? Like,
but
do you
I
know what I
think
mean?
the
Like,
media did something to it because like the refs didn't make any calls except for then the Chiefs tried to say after I forgot what player like, "Oh, the refs made a bad call. Are we going to
Yeah,
talk about that?" No, sir, we're not,
we're
honestly.
not because honestly,
You had a whole
karma.
season of
You
you
should they
being
shouldn't have
right.
even been there because of flag. And I'll say it. I'll say it because so again, I think that I was so happy and I think Jalen with his whole storyline of like there was that whole storyline about him losing that's his screensaver and
Yeah,
how
with
that was like his
the
not a screensaver
confetti.
but background, yeah, with the
Yeah,
confetti
with
in his
confetti.
background and how it's showing my age screensaver, that
It
I
is.
really just think that for him for his career to have such a dominating performance because I think like going into it we thought it was going to be a quarterback match and I think we kind of thought that both of them were going to be putting up numbers. But
I was gonna.
I think Jalen took that personally 2 years ago. And
Yeah.
did you see that there was like this? I didn't watch the speech, but apparently last time they matched in the Super Bowl that the Chiefs made, and of course the Chiefs won, but they made the O line made shirts that said 0 sacks allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy like the coach basically said that to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember those t-shirts? Like remember like kind of to fuel them. And how many I know that it was his career high of sacks for Patrick that he got
Yeah.
sacked like
Patrick was on the
6
ground.
times or something. It was
He had two in one drive, like in one play, I guess is how you would say it. But yeah, he had six. It was bad. Cause I text you five and then there's like another one
and
happened.
then when it happened right after and I was like, "Oh."
Just kidding. But that is a good storyline because also that O-line coach, I forgot where else he coached, but he's been close to getting a
Is it
championship.
who was Vic? Is it Vic?
I don't remember his name, but he's
It's
the
like
one
Vic
that
Maggio or something. Everyone talked about him because I listened to some podcasts because that's what I was just eating it up all year, all the next day. Because I was like, this is the greatest thing that I
yeah,
loved that I could open up my wait, what?
I didn't mind it being talked about over and over.
Yes.
Like last year, I was like, okay, we're
Oh,
done.
is it Vic Fangio?
Yeah, so he finally got his
Oh,
win, but
he's defensive. He's the defensive coordinator. But
the
he's been with like yeah, because he's been with like all these people I've heard that he was so close, so everyone was so excited
so they did it
for
for him.
him.
Which I thought that was so sweet that those players, the defense was like crazy. They should have been MVP. Like that whole defense, like
One of
it
them
was
said
crazy.
that. One of them said like it should have been me. Like good, but like it
Well,
should have
and we
been me.
always know like a quarterback is usually the one that gets the MVP.
Yeah, I
But
remember because like in
for
Super Bowl
real,
50, Von Miller got it over Peyton, and but
yeah,
like honestly, that defense won that game,
I
and so
think
it
if
was just kind of a.
Saquon had a bigger game, he probably
Mhm.
could have gotten it. But I seriously believe that that defense, because I was like, damn, they're really on a mission out there. Like Patrick couldn't do anything.
Anything, and then he like looked off. Like again, I wasn't watching, but I've been watching all the clips after, and I just felt like
Travis
he
didn't
never
get
got his
a
footing.
touchdown
Travis
until
never
the fourth,
touched
third
anything.
or fourth quarter
Yeah.
towards the end. I was
I know,
like,
and like Bill Simmons was like, I'm not even counting the fourth quarter because it was over by then. You can say that he had 2 touchdowns, but like I don't even care because it
yeah,
was
like
over
how
by
do you
then.
celebrate? Like, oh, but we're still losing because it was still like three
Which
touchdowns.
is like that's what I always just like commend any athlete because I'm just like that to get out there when your team is like doing that. But like I also feel like, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna make it emotional. Like they needed to be humbled. I think they needed to be humbled because, like I said, they should not have been the AFC team
No,
for
not
that.
this year. I don't think either.
Yeah, I do not think that they were the ones, and I think like I was just. And I hated that like everyone was like, "Oh, they're the villain." And I wrote about this in my piece that I was like, "But you're not even like the villain in the way that you think you're the villain. Like you're the villain because like genuinely no one likes you. Like
Yeah,
you have the refs help, like literal help." And I'm gonna say that because yeah.
they have. Well,
And again, your
I don't-
second string should have been able to beat.
Yeah, like y'all
Yeah,
should have.
I still always say that.
They stopped because they were scared, but I'm glad. So even though Philadelphia fans are ruthless and scary and they destroy their town, win or lose, which is kind of
Yeah.
crazy. But like they get on the poles and it was funny because they said that in New Orleans that
They're like, don't even try.
they greased the poles or
Yes.
something. Someone said. I don't know how true that was.
I
But
think I heard that they were doing that because I
yeah,
think
because they're
they
known
did it
for
last
shooting
year,
on them.
yeah. Or the
Yeah.
last time, yeah.
But yeah, I think I was excited about it again after I saw that first drive and then with the Eagles just looked great on their first and the touchdown, I was like, okay. But I even told you it was fourth quarter and it was like a good like you knew it was over, but I was like, I'm not saying it's over until it's zero
Well,
zero
like
on the clock because
everyone kept talking about how, because like I remember watching that Atlanta New England game. Like I remember watching that and being like,
you
and then
thought it was,
watching Brady come back. And I will. Everyone knows I don't like Tom, but that is the one Super Bowl I give him every time because I'm like that was ruthless for
yes,
him to come up and
that
like
was so bad on the
they and I think and we can talk about it, but like I know that everyone kind of knew that Patrick could be capable of doing that kind of comeback, and he didn't even come close. So a lot of people are saying that the GOAT talk or like the Tom Brady comparisons have about like need to take a rest, and I kind of agree, but I wanted to know what you
Tom
thought.
even agrees. I think he was happy.
I know everyone's talking about how like Tom was loving it, and I was like, I
Tom was
kind of
like,
need to
oh
go back and listen to it because I hadn't like watched it, but they said that like Tom was just like
yeah,
silent because
I
he
was
was
like,
like,
I don't think Tom was upset at all. I'm not upset either for the fact that the last time we've had a three-peat was the Lakers with Shaq and
well,
Kobe. So I'm like, okay, we could still be the
well,
last
how they were
one.
gonna have to like pay Miami or something if they used it because I think Pat Riley has a trademark on 3P. And the fact that they were, and that's what I think a lot of people, like Bill Simmons' podcast, talked about how, like, what kind of, like, there were like talks about them doing that because I think Miami did it. Did Miami do it at one point? Or maybe is it Pat because when he was Pat Riley has 3P.
He wasn't with the Lakers, so the Bulls had a three-peat way back when, which was Phil Jackson again. Then Phil got three-peat with the Lakers. And then
He goes, Heat president Pat Riley reveals his three-peat trademark. So he has it. So
maybe he was
Pat
working
Riley's
harder.
three-peat trademark could, wait, let's see. It was basically like he was going to make a lot of money if the Chiefs won, and he didn't because he was basically going to give it to them to use or whatever. But
Well, he probably did allow the Lakers just because he is like he was Laker for a while then. I
right,
didn't
let's see. He's
realize.
owned multiple three-peat trademarks since beginning to file for them in the late 1980s with the Los Angeles Lakers. And then, so I think he just, maybe he did it back then and like he just has a trademark on it,
Yeah.
you know?
Well,
Maybe that's what it was.
I
But
know
yeah.
I'll look that up later. But yeah, I know like Jordan did it, the Bulls did it, and then I think it was another football, was it? I'll look that up and share.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. But
Well, I think it's been broken up. I don't know when the last time when a football team did it, because it's always been broken up by the Patriots.
yeah, no, I think the last time was football when
The
before
80s.
the Super Bowl because so the Packers have a three-peat, but they had two Super
That's
Bowls
what it was.
before the Super Bowl was the Super
Hmm.
Bowl. It was just a championship game, but it
Yeah,
wasn't
that's what it
called the
was.
Super Bowl. They won that. Then the next year they started Super Bowl, and then they won those two, I think. So technically they have a three-peat, but they don't have a three-peat in the Super Bowl
Yeah.
as the name Super Bowl. Um, so yeah, I'm glad they don't have it. I think it was a great game at that. I think the
What do
halftime
you
was
think of like Patrick? Like, what do you think? Like, do you think the talks of Tom Brady are gonna calm down? Like, I do feel like it
no,
was just
because
Patrick, and then the way he came out, like,
I don't think I think we'll still hear it when next season comes back because now it's like can he bring himself back, I think,
Yeah.
from it was weird, and I still can't believe, like, how bad they were. Like, I
It was
wanted
bad.
to win, but I did not think it was gonna be like that. Like,
Right.
it was like, oh, I thought it would be a close game or down to the wire like the previous one that they matched up in, where the Eagles probably should have won that one too because there was a
They should
call.
have, and it came down. Was that one that they came down to like a call in like the
Yeah, it
final
was
minutes or something? It was something
yeah,
stupid. It was a stupid penalty. I do. Oh, I remember it. Don't even
yeah.
have those thoughts anymore. But yeah,
So yeah, I was just really shocked that they lost like that. I was like, I can't believe that. But then I was happy. So
right.
it's just sad to be happy for someone losing, but
It
uh
needed. It needed to happen. It needed to
yeah.
happen,
And
and it needed
he
to happen
still
for
has a
America.
good career. Like, and there's other aspects that I didn't like that was tied with the team. I won't go into that, but with who they were excited to be there and blah blah blah. So
Mhm.
hopefully that brought them bad luck.
Again, they just didn't handle themselves very well this year.
Yeah.
And
So
any on and off the field, they do not.
right. So part of that we know the famous girlfriend was there, Taylor Swift. And this has been a big story that she got booed when they showed her on the screen at the beginning of the game. The people in the stands were booing her. And so people are like, that became a storyline immediately after that. Like, if you read it anywhere, and definitely all of the lifestyle brands, like the magazines and stuff like that, like, why are they booing Taylor? Oh my gosh. And then Serena tweeted, you know, don't worry, something, Taylor. I love you, Taylor, or something, which I think was just support. But I want to know your thought. I felt, and then I even commented on some blog thing. I forgot where it was, but they were talking about it. And I was like, it had nothing to do with Taylor as
Yeah,
a person. It had everything to do with sports. Like
that's what I believe.
it was fans. Like there, I felt, I mean, I would love to know the actual numbers, but I felt I was down in New Orleans around the Super Bowl stuff before the Super Bowl the week of. It was more Eagles people
That's what every
in New
video I
Orleans.
saw of
Yeah.
like people there being like, I remember this one guy's like from The Bachelor. He was like, "This is a Philly home game.
Yeah.
This is yeah."
And they did come deep for the regular season of the Saints. Like we were
Mhm.
shocked how many Eagle fans were at that game.
Oh, they're like
So,
debauchery. They're gonna come to New
yeah.
Orleans. I feel
So
like they,
of course they were coming back and
yeah,
brought 10 more people each. Like,
right.
so it was so if people don't know, like Taylor Swift is from
Philly,
Pennsylvania.
yeah,
Is
Pennsylvania,
it
yeah.
Philly or like
It was
outside?
like Pennsylvania. Yeah.
But her dad is a Philly fan. She grew up as a Philly fan. She's been seen like years ago in Philly stuff. And
She
she
has a lyric of like, yeah, it's like my
okay, so
Eagles
I don't
shirt or
know.
something.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So it then obviously when she dates Travis, you have to support your loved one. I don't get that because I support my Saints, but when my West Coast teams come, I am all Raiders, I am all Lakers. So it's like your first love is your first love, but to each her own. But so I felt that that's what it was. Like you turned on them fan wise. So it's like,
That's how I took it. And
yeah,
like I didn't watch the game. I don't know if they booed Paul Rudd. I don't know if they booed any other celebrity
but
as
he is
hard.
tied as much to the Chiefs.
But but like I think that like cuz I and that's how I took it cuz I took it as like it's Philadelphia.
And you're a Taylor
It's-
Swift fan, so
Yeah. And like that's how I took it. I took it as like, oh, it's Philly. What I know about Philadelphia fans, they will piss on their own player if they're doing bad. Like they will boo their own players if things go bad. That I took that as her. I don't think, and I really hated that everyone was like saying that she had like sold out that stadium like 3 months ago, and like I really kind of felt like they were like insulting New Orleans, and I was like,
yeah,
babe,
they acted like it
our
was
people
New
aren't there.
Orleans.
Like like I felt
We
like
had
that
a
was weird.
handful of New Orleans and Louisiana's
Yeah.
compared to Philly. Like, and they don't care about
Yeah,
Taylor.
that's kind of like how I hated that like that was a storyline, and I was
And
like,
not that we don't
don't
care
bring
about
Viola
her.
into this, don't bring us into
Yeah,
this.
not
So
that we
and
don't care
I
about her.
did that. I took that, and I was like, I took it as because of her Philadelphia to Chiefs switch. I did not take it as her as a person. Yeah, I don't think that that would, but that's just me, but, or us, because I
Yeah.
was like, I saw that and I saw it because of course it was everywhere. And I was like, I don't agree with this, but
As
like,
big of
okay.
a storyline as I mean,
Well, they
some
also
people
needed to write about her and her boyfriend
right,
lost. So there was
because
nothing to
they
write
didn't
about
get to
her. So
show her much because
yeah.
they weren't
Well, he
scoring.
wasn't doing well.
Right, so she
Got
wasn't
like 4 touches or I don't even know. Yeah.
yeah, she wasn't cheering, obviously, so they did have to write, but I was just like I was like, "I can't wait to talk to you about it."
Yes.
You're a fan. How did you take that? Like, how would you have taken it? But then, like you said, when you're reading the stuff and they're like, I can't believe New Orleans did that and stuff. And so on those posts where those Instagram posts where I was seeing it, you see a lot of New Orleans people be like, that wasn't New Orleans. We don't
Yeah.
care. Or
Yeah.
that's not how we do. Like,
We
that
were
was
like, yeah. We were prepping for Mardi Gras. We weren't doing any of that. We were
right. We could care less. But yeah, so y'all, if you're thinking bad about her getting booed, it had all to do with competition. I
That's
feel like
it.
it had all to do
That's
with
it.
competition of the game, and you switch sides. You're a traitor in the sports
They're
world
there.
for
Yeah,
your team.
absolutely.
Yeah, not her as a person. I'm sure they still love her song wise as
Yeah,
you did, as a
right.
musician. Yeah. So, well, you didn't watch the game, so you didn't see the halftime, but the
I
halftime.
watched it after. I watched it
Okay.
after. Yes. I will
Um,
always watch Kendrick, so.
yes. I know it wasn't, a lot of people have said it wasn't as entertaining, which it's not. A rapper is not going to have the
No, but
dancing
I
and
feel
stuff
like the
like that.
background stuff
Yeah,
has been
I thought it was
entertaining.
still
Do you know what I
entertaining.
mean? Like, I think it's like having Serena there and then learning why Serena was that. Like, I think the symbolism, like, I think in the moment, it's not the most like, oh yeah, but like, I think the web that you go down afterwards has
Yep.
been entertaining. And I think that that shows a good artist, in my opinion. So,
Yeah,
but I
no,
also think Kendrick can't do anything wrong in my eyes. So,
there are so many storylines with it, and that's just how he's been with all of his songs, like his albums and stuff like that. So yeah, it's funny because people were like, "This is worse," and then they learn all of the background story, and they're like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And
yeah,
I love seeing
exactly.
the older white women loving and fanning over him on
Yes,
Instagram. I'm like,
yes.
"You're so cute." One lady was like, "He's just so handsome," and just
So cute.
there's so
That little smile on his stage Drake.
yeah. Well, and Drake's coming around. He's
Yeah.
supposedly playing it at his shows and everything, like the song now, but whatever.
Interesting.
So, yep, so we're done with football until whenever camp starts. I'm trying to think like maybe
July,
before
August.
August, yeah, July when we'll start hearing about that. But there's still going to be news. Obviously, there's free agency happening, and that's when, players are eligible to sign with other franchises, possibly without, having to be traded or whatnot per se. They don't have a contract or their contract is up. So we'll see what gets moved, but what moves happen within that before. There was a lot of buzz that happened on Super Bowl Sunday. One with another one of our not so favorite people, Aaron Rodgers, who pretty much got broken up with on Super Bowl Sunday because the
It
Jets were
was
like,
really embarrassing
yeah.
because when it came out that he like pleaded with them to stay,
And it
which
was
I think is
and there was something in there about that he couldn't go on McAfee's show because Aaron Rodgers goes on Pat McAfee, who is a former football player, and he's a sports show host for College Game Day, and he has his own show on ESPN. And Aaron Rodgers has been going
it's
on
like a
there.
little personality.
Yeah, and so he does get paid for that. Obviously, there's whatever that is. But the Jets didn't like him going on there anymore. So they were saying that that was part of them saying you can't go on there. So I don't know if Aaron said no, but the shocker was, I guess maybe it's good that it happened on Super Bowl because it got lost a little bit on that day
Yeah.
because all of the coverage was on the Super Bowl, but it did come out. So then I think a couple of days after it was like they're gonna part ways. And so now we're trying to see where is Aaron gonna go because he says he can still play.
So what's to play? Which I'm like, And I was gonna ask like what you thought about this because it's like, what team's gonna invest in him?
Well, they said the Rams are looking. I saw something about not the Steelers. Was it the Steelers?
I think Steelers are on there, Oakland's on there.
The Rams. And I was like, please don't get us like another Derek Carr. Like, because Aaron is 40. I'm 40. I don't want to say like you can't still do it. LeBron is 40 and he's doing it. But we've only seen Tom Brady do it, and we know Tom Brady's regimen and what
Yeah.
he did to take care of his body. But I don't know if Aaron's ready for that after we saw last season.
I just like every like there's all these jokes that like if he doesn't play, he's gonna go like start a podcast. So we're like we have to prevent him from starting a podcast. But like I
We
just
still have
think
one now.
but he never has been I don't know, I think he's washed up. So I'm like, who no one's gonna invest in you. And like I feel like unless, and I mean this respectfully because I did like last year, I was cheering for Joe Flacco. Unless he becomes like a Joe Flacco. And I feel like
But I
he's
don't feel
not
like
going to be okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, because like
and
Joe's
will
like a backup, but he like, what, he played for Indy this year. He took the
but he
Browns
was
very far last
impactful. Yeah,
year.
he was
Yeah. So
impactful when he
like,
stepped in.
yes. So
I don't
like,
know. Aaron wasn't.
I don't know if Aaron Rodgers would go that route and be a backup or be like something because I do not think he plays. And like we've talked about this in other podcasts that the quarterback position is just changing. It's a runner guy. It's the guy like I'm going to use my LSU examples, but like or even like Jalen and like Joe and Jaden and like even Josh Allen, like they gotta run. They gotta be the one who makes all the plays when they're offensive line. Like you gotta do it. And I just don't see him being in the capacity or have the capability. That's the word I was gonna capability to do that. That's just my opinion at
Yeah.
40.
No, yeah. I mean, I was talking to you. I'm trying to be an athlete or bring mine back with my little running.
Yeah.
I'm like, I fell off, and at an older age, it's hard to get back on.
So hard.
When you're not being consistent, you really have to focus because your body is not rebounding back like when you were younger.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just no matter what you do, and unless you stay on it. And I feel like again, he doesn't do what Tom Brady does. And I think you only have a couple of athletes that do that. LeBron and Tom Brady and Kobe did that. That really are like strict and they do it
Disciplined and
like
it's like
yeah, like Tom just started drinking, so
yes.
yeah, we'll see where Aaron Rodgers is going to end up. Hopefully not on one of my teams. So Pete
So
Carroll,
now I'm like,
the Raiders got Pete Carroll. Please no. The Saints, please no. We already are worrying about. Don't make that move. Um,
you
but
gotta take care of Derek Carr before that.
right. Speaking of the Saints, they're trying to rebuild. Obviously, we took Kellen Moore, who was
Yep.
the offensive
Super Bowl winner.
coordinator coach for the Eagles. So I guess they're trying to say like, oh, will you bring that
Have you
good?
seen the jokes? Have you seen the jokes about it's like after the Super Bowl and they're like Kellen Moore smiling for the last time he'll win in the Superdome? I'm like, damn, y'all are coming
Really not.
already. He's just the ink's not
Yeah.
even dry.
Well,
Really just
people were like, okay, so two things. This goes back to what you just said about the Eagles will kind of go on their own player if they're doing
yeah.
bad. I was
The
like,
Saints do that.
Kellen didn't even get to go to the parade. Like he came to the to back to New Orleans like the next, after going home and then coming back or something, or they
Right.
stayed, but he wasn't there for the parade. And I was like, dang, he didn't even get to go to the parade and like celebrate. And someone was like, yeah, Eagle fans don't want him there because he's leaving them, so they're pissed at him already. So I don't know if that's true, but I'm like, what if it is? Like they're like, oh no, you're a traitor. Even though that's a up for him to get a head coach. Maybe not the same, but to get that head coach job. I mean, we had good luck with Sean Payton when that happened,
Yep,
so
that's very true. He did. He was
hopefully
good for that city.
I'm not gonna get all excited until 5 wins.
Yeah, y'all gotta get over that hump because everyone gets really excited and then it just
That's why I was like, I need 5 wins before I could be like, okay, Kevin, we got you. Because I don't know. And he, like you said, he has to do something about that quarterback. Um, the last thing talk about, well, no, two things before we wrap this Super Bowl up. Dak press
Yeah.
comment. So for those that don't know, Dak the quarterback for the Cowboys, who had an awful season yet again.
Awful.
They have not been to the Super Bowl.
Since 1995.
Yeah, like Jalen, and that was the thing. Jalen and Jaden were born, won championships, now won the Super Bowl before Dallas has even made
They
it.
said, I think it was, and with Philly's win, each I think franchise in like that conference has won like twice besides the Cowboys.
Yeah,
Like
not
in
looking
the
good.
last 20 years. Like it's been like yeah,
So they
or 30 years. It was like something where it was like
they had it. They interviewed Dak somewhere right after the Super Bowl or the next day, and he said, "Oh, I think we're close to the Eagles."
yeah, he should not be answering any
Pretty much that they
questions like
can
this
hold
right
up
now.
to the Eagles and that they're along the same lines. Like, sir, so
You
you
don't even play. He
you just
doesn't
wanted to
even
get the
play.
Cowboys back in the topic, obviously, because we had talked about the Cowboys. Because why would you fix your mouth
Like,
to say
no, we're always
you're
talking about y'all, but it's an embarrassment for y'all. So I'm like, he didn't help at all.
the Super Bowl champ? Like, no one literally can compare themselves if you won the Super Bowl. Really, only the
The
Chiefs
Cowboys,
were there, but
well, the Cowboys didn't even make the playoffs. They were like the
right.
second team to get eliminated. Like like Jaden Daniels can say, "Hey, we're really close to them because they got very far." Like your boys never even dim boys never even made it to the
America's
like
team.
yeah. Like
Maybe
y'all
that's
didn't
why.
even like make it to the like I'm trying to think of the like they didn't even show up to the party. Like y'all didn't even get there.
Like you've been on the couch with us for a long time.
Yes. That's why I was like, bro, like what
And
are you doing?
I'm
Like I
saying
understand that
just
there's like
not
a
as a
PR way
fan.
to answer this question, but like,
No. You say congratulations to them. We're looking forward to next year to whatever,
yeah,
doing
I
better.
really hope that we can like run it like take them on
Well,
next year, like yeah.
maybe he was
Are
being
there going to be motivation for us to take on like yeah, don't be like, "Oh, I think there's a way to say I think we can I think we can instead of like we are. Like no,
and
no.
I don't think
You
you
are
can either. We haven't
no,
even
I don't
seen
think you can
training
either.
camp.
But I feel like that's like hopeful because you're thinking about like, oh, we've been working on this. Like, but no, you aren't
So
doing.
maybe just say no comment to that. Nothing to football unless they're asking about the Cowboys
Yeah.
in their own franchise. Nothing comparing.
No. Yeah.
We'll continue to see because we know that the media loves talking about the Cowboys. It's off season and there's not much to talk around about the football except for the free agency and then until we get to training camp and they just like to pull the Cowboys into everything. So we'll see what more happens with Jerry and Dak and all of them. But we do have the NFL draft coming up.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. We do have that in June. So I love that. We'll see if Shador goes first round, if Travis Hunter goes first round, where
Yeah.
they're going to go, who's going to get them. It's the same thing as where they're going to go. But so we'll see what happens with that. Last topic before we leave, our third favorite person on his podcast with his brother, Travis Kelsey's, kind of alluded to he could retire. Like, I think there was a question and he didn't like really answer. He said, we'll see where it's at. Do you think he'll give it up because they didn't win and he's kind of tired, or will he
I don't know because I know that they gave him like a date. I think it's like in March or something to
to say?
make his decision because I think it has something to do with like money or whatever. I know that he's like says he doesn't want to come back unless he's like 100%. And I just think like seeing how he's handled his body or like how his body has looked in these like last couple of games, I could see him where he hangs up the towel. but I also think he has enough ego that he will not want to go out on a loss. So I feel like I don't know. I don't know what he would do because
Tom couldn't do it. That's why he came back.
and then he had the worst loss. Like
But he at least
do you
won
remember
one before.
Yes, and then
Talking
but the
about his
way he
first.
lost was the divorce year. And I was like, I can't believe this is what we're witnessing.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets that Tom did not go out well.
No, well,
Tom did not go out well.
his first time when he wasn't ready, he came back and then he ended up winning a championship. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone like skips over that.
Well, he
But he got divorced and he lost very badly in the same year.
and I don't know if there's any chance of coming back because she has a whole another kid and they seem to be doing good. So, her and her new boo.
Yes. Yes.
But, yeah, so we'll see. So some things that we're keeping our eye out on the off season. Also, his Miles Garrett. I
Hmm.
always get his name mixed up, but he's with
Yeah.
the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, he's requested a trade.
He requested a trade because he wants to win, and they have not won. And
Well,
he's been
that's the Browns, huh?
yeah,
That's a mess.
he's been with
But
them.
that whole Deshaun Watson, like, and I think it's crazy because you think about it, like, just last was it last year or the year before? Like, Joe Flacco had him in the playoffs. Because I remember,
Yeah,
like,
they were
that was
doing
like a
good.
storyline where I was like,
Yeah.
I can't believe Joe Flacco was in the playoffs. Like,
And just Sean got hurt. I'm curious. I don't think he'll be back. I'm wondering if they're going to keep him or he might be done. So we'll see that, but we'll see where Miles goes since he did ask for one. There was a big trade in Rams, so we're keeping our eyes out on this, seeing where people are going to go. Where's Aaron going? Aaron Rodgers. What are the Cowboys going to do?
there's a lot of like re-signing, like pendings, because we don't know if the Bengals are going to keep um T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Like, there's like basically Joe's like pay him,
Yeah,
and
I don't
he
think he.
commended the Eagles with how the Eagles have their pay structure to where they can afford to pay. I think like you
Well,
push
and
it at the end. Is like you push it at the end, and then by the time you get to the end and you have that extra money, you kind of use that for a signing bonus. Like the way that like Joe Burrow has some really great
yeah,
what goes
when
on in that
something
brain.
about salary caps went up, I don't know all of those details and stuff, so I don't know if
I
that
know
did
that
more, but
yeah. I don't know the details, but I think the Chiefs are some that a lot of them like I think that's another thing with Travis's decision will greatly like
you worry.
he could open up a lot for the Chiefs to play with because I think they have really like like 4 or 5 really big paydays and
We'll see what our teams do,
yes.
but what else happens in. So stay tuned, find out. We'll see where some of our favorite college guys are going and if it adds to our current teams and to the league because last year's drafts did very well. Jaden Daniels was last year's and had an amazing rookie season and did a lot for that Wash.
Rookie of the year.
So hopefully we have some, Travis or Shador or some of these other guys coming out that as well. But for now, we don't have football. We're headed into basketball and or finishing off basketball and baseball's coming up. I know that's your fave. But before we go, something happens. You said in February. Now, this was all like part of the excitement for you to take this new journey. It's still exciting that you're moving to Dallas, but the world was shook, the NBA world and everyone else, because no one could believe this, that Luca was traded to the
Overnight. Overnight.
Yes, overnight.
Like so
So
I'm at my friend's
everything.
house and my phone goes on sleep mode at like 9 or 10 or something. And so I can't see like alerts or whatever, but I will like manually check messages just in case like somebody and it's a Saturday night, but I don't think anybody's going to be like messaging me, but I'm really boring. But I was like, let me just check 11:50 and my friends has sent me this screenshot and it was like reports show that Luca is being traded to the Lakers. And I was like, And my friend is telling me a story. My friend is actively talking to me. And I go, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I need to check something.
It's like
Like
breaking
I
news came across your screen to your friend.
like in my brain. Like in my brain it was like and I was like, I'm so sorry to do this to you. And like it's like one of my sweet dear friend who could not care less about any of this. And I was like,
Like,
I think it was so heavy because, and I think I can't remember who I've told. Like when I tell you, I'm so embarrassed to admit this, but I was very emotional about it. Like I was very like I
so
cried.
were a lot
I
of
have not
Dallas fans. Yeah.
cried over an athlete since Peyton Manning had to leave the Indianapolis Colts in 2011 that I was like I literally sat in my car and Luca posted his goodbye to Dallas message and I just cried. I was so upset because it like again like you said it was such a big factor of why like I will go to Dallas. I'm
Well, yeah,
happy.
it's just exciting.
But
It's
it was
exciting.
such a reason to
Yeah.
be so excited to go. I was excited to be a local fan. Like and he was my guy. And Jordan Rogers, I don't know if anyone follows him. He's a really big marketing guy. He's a Dallas fan. Like if you like marketing of anything, like he worked for Nike. He has really cool just like takes on things. And he wrote this piece about how Dallas kind of was always like a unicorn when you look at franchises because we had Mark Cuban who wasn't in the suites, he was in the stands, high-fiving, like really loved it. We had
There's the best
Dirk who
players.
never even like wavered of leaving. We had this loyalty that you didn't see and like we had Luca and we thought we were going to have Luca for life. We thought he was going to be another Dirk. He took us to the finals last year. It was beautiful like and then I guess off season or at some point Mark Cuban sold majority owner to these other people who have Vegas ties and got this new GM who and I think like what was so hard and I really probably can't talk about it without getting emotional that their marketing like just their handling of this PR and handling of this like Jason Kidd, the coach, didn't know about it until like the 11th hour.
Not even on the Lakers side,
No one
except
knew.
for the GM and
And
possibly
I
the owner,
think
obviously.
just to see, like, the fans are pissed. I believe it. And then it does not help that he is a Laker now. And I told Aaron, I will put this as my witness as well. Luca wins a ring with them. I'm buying a Lakers jersey
Yeah.
because and again I do not like NBA players like I do Luca and like I stayed up late to watch the game, which is really hard for me with my little West
Someone else
Coast because I
knows
gotta go to bed.
my
And
pain with that now.
yeah, I get it. So it was just like again, like it was hurtful as a fan and then like as someone who understands PR and marketing, it was painful to see how they were handling things. Like it was just more pain after pain and it was just so
Yeah, and all
it was like what shocked the world and it was kind of one of those things where like and I don't know if you feel this way, probably not because you're not a Luca fan,
the Lakers were
that I wanted to talk about it with everyone. Like there were all these jokes about how like girlfriends didn't know what to do with their boyfriends about the Luca trade. And I'd be like, I need to talk to your boyfriend. Like I need to talk to someone. Like I remember we had a Teams call with my Dallas team like one of like my coworkers like hey how's it going I was like I'm not handling Luca well like I just was like very like I I was listening to podcasts all day I was listening to like Bill Simmons I was listening to NFL like I just needed people to give me any insight about it
but no,
because it was just it was so unprecedented it's never happened in the NBA like this it just to have a franchise player
and he was in his
and then there's
prime
also the
still.
in the prime and they were saying that he was overweight and everyone was like they saw him get off the plane and they were like this dude's not as bad as what they were saying and then like I feel really bad for the like side of things because for those of you who don't know he got traded for Anthony Davis who is older
Player.
not as clutch as he is like again Luca took Mavericks to the finals last year.
Well, AD isn't a franchise player in that, like, so AD was drafted by the Pelicans, didn't do very
A
well.
jersey the other day. I was like cleaning out my closet. I had that jersey and I was like,
He didn't do very well as their lead guy, and he ended up coming to the Lakers, but with LeBron. So you have LeBron leading, and yes, Anthony did good for the Lakers. He won a championship with us or for us, but I still would not, and I'm not a Dallas fan, but when I saw that, I was like, this is not good. Like, this is stupid. It was good for the Lakers,
so yes.
but
It's
it
so
was just like,
stupid.
who does that? Like, why would you do that for AD? And I can't think of the other player's name.
It was like
And
not a
then
good trade.
for the 2029 draft pick. So you traded those three. That's how much Luca was worth. One, that it took all of that. But it's just crazy. And so from the Lakers side, they're saying that they were looking at it as LeBron is, maybe 1 or 2 more years, probably just one, but he'll be retiring soon. That they're setting Luca up to be our franchise and the face of
And
the
then we
Lakers.
don't have it. We don't have a future at all.
Yeah, and so I
Y'all
mean,
do.
it was a good trade for us. I mean, that wasn't bad at all. Even if he doesn't end up being our franchise, he's still
Yes.
great.
That's what they're
So
doing. Yeah,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
gonna do
But
that.
I'm
And I
saying
think
even while he's there, even if he just wins one and leaves, he's still a better trade.
I just am praying that Mark Cuban does something. Just like maybe Mark's just gonna swoop back in and be like, Luca, I'll
But
never let that happen to you again.
to share that Meredith is not the only fan to think the Cowboys, the Dallas Maverick fans have been so upset that the GM has to have security now when he goes out.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, psycho. I
they
feel
are
like, okay, well, at
upset.
least I'm going somewhere where they're passionate because
Yeah,
crazy.
they
They've been
are
getting
upset.
kicked out of like games for yelling Friar Nico. It's been
And
insane.
then
I was like, well, at
injuries.
least they're like dedicated. I need a strong fan base, so
Right. And then not to help, the first game AD plays, he gets hurt and he's out for a couple of weeks. So he didn't play his very first
yes.
game as a Maverick because he was still out from the Lakers. He gets in for that next game
And it doesn't oh,
and he gets hurt. He had a good game as far as he had his points. He did well, but then he gets hurt and he's out for a few weeks, which is not good at this point because we're playing for a champion playoff spots in most sense and in most.
and the reason why they got rid of Luca is because they're like, oh, he doesn't take care of his body. So we're scared he's not going to last long. And I'm like, well, your new dude lasted a game. Not even a game.
But to be fair, I'm sure that Luca will get in better shape
Yes,
once
because he lives in LA. This is
he's won with
setting up the
LeBron. But
biggest
yes,
vengeance
in
story
he's in
ever.
LA.
And I'm going to be on the right side of history. I'm not cheering for the Mavericks if they face off. Absolutely not.
Well, yes, Mary.
Luca is going to come back and slaughter. Like, oh, I'm too fat. Well, you know what? Now I have green juices at my locker
Well,
every day.
one, he has LeBron to help him. Again, we
Yes,
said LeBron
that's
has
what
a
Bill
great,
Simmons said. They were like,
yeah.
you're going to send him to the healthiest city in the
And then
world and have LeBron to be like, hey, man, this is how we condition. Hey,
I
man,
was
this is,
about to say that the city is just as healthy. There's great
hey,
places.
man, we could set up this person to bring you this Erewhon smoothie every morning. Let's do it.
No, Luca will
Yes,
be at LeBron's gym at his
absolutely.
home working out. We have beaches and sand dunes and all of that you could work out that's going to take
Yeah,
you to a
he's
whole
gonna be
nother
fine.
level.
He's going to, oh, and he is mad. And I think like that was
He doesn't have
hard because you
time
could tell that
to.
he was upset. You could tell that he was in such shock. Like you could just
He loved
tell.
where he was. And I mean,
Yes, he
yeah.
just bought a house. He bought a house
And if you're the
a
franchise,
week before.
they need to give
It like and so like it was just handled so shitty. And excuse my language, but it was. And I just was like,
it
I'm
was
so
because
sad.
I didn't understand it too because I'm like, okay, Zion they said was fat and stuff. They still gave him chance, or he was out of shape. They gave him chances. He got into shape.
He
Like,
even made it to the finals. Luca literally went to the finals.
how do you not give them time to fix him? Like, and you can't just give it a month.
No, there was such
So yeah, Yeah, maybe
So
March.
please keep me in mind this season because I
So
don't.
she's moving to Dallas, but now she's a West Coast girl.
I literally was looking up jerseys that next day. I was like, "Ugh,
Well,
can't believe I'm Googling LA Lakers jerseys.
I hope that comes true for you because I
I
would
followed them on Insta. I followed Lakers on Instagram.
welcome to Laker Nation. We welcome you with open arms.
I probably needed to share a fan. Oh my God, it just,
But yeah, that was one of the craziest things. Just I got her on my side. I also have her on my side for the Dodgers, just at least for Freddie Freeman, but still. So we're making progress over here with getting Meredith to the West Coast.
well, it's funny because we have an office on the West Coast. So I was like, can y'all send me to the West Coast office? So,
Might be out there. So yeah, crazy things happening in sports. It's about to ramp up too on the women's side for college basketball in general because March Madness is coming up. Um, WNBA will be coming up in May. They're having a game here in Baton Rouge with the Chicago's. Uh, oh my God, I just lost what their team name is. Sky. WNBA are coming to play at the LSU arena. Pete
yeah,
Maravich
I saw that. Yeah.
for their opening against the Brazil women basketball team. So I'm excited for that to come back. There's been a lot of shakeups in that, and next week we're gonna jump into some of the shakeups that have happened in the WNBA this off season and who's where, and excited to see what that whole season brings. And we'll have Lauren join us, our good friend who is in love with women's basketball. We
She's
got her
got it,
I'm a
man.
sports fan. So yeah, thank you for joining Meredith and
Thank
chatting
you.
with me. Following up on our Super Bowl, even though it's been a little over a week, but it's still good
Had to
news to talk about it. Yeah. And then to talk about our Luca and now on the same side basketball wise. At least have that
little
sport.
steps, small steps.
Yes. But thank you guys so much for joining us, tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and join us next week for Girl Chat. Have a great day. Bye.